Sweet. All right. Welcome to Sevedge Sessions episode number.
I believe it's 10.
Is it 10?
Yep.
That's actually a big deal. We got all the way to 10.
10
Tyson, I did
episodes.
not get you a cup. Can you go grab a cup for Tyson downstairs? So who we got here today is Tyson. Tyson, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Okay, so my name is Tyson.
Put that mic right up next to that
My
beautiful
name
face.
is Tyson, and I am student at Devslopes, and I am on a journey. Yeah, so I'm from Houston originally, living here in Denver now to pursue that snowboarding dream and live the life up here.
Did you say you moved here? From where?
From Houston.
We were just talking about that before we started here.
Yeah.
So you went to a bunch of Rocket games before you moved?
Bunch of Rockets games, yeah. Wife loves the Rockets, so. But
How'd you guys end up in Denver?
well, we visited Colorado once or twice a year. Come up here for camping and driving or snowboarding. So one time we're driving back home, and I told my wife, this is the last time that we drive south going home from here. It's not going to happen again. So 12 months later, we had made huge financial shifts, and we lived in Colorado.
That's fucking
So
sick.
it took 12 months.
Amazing.
That's an exciting. That's like a hard journey to make.
It was nuts. Yeah.
So tell us, you're a student obviously in DevSlopes. We'll get heavy into that a little bit later on. What I want to hear about is this entire episode I feel like is dedicated to maybe the process of learning. And actually, I'll steal it for a moment. So this morning I was journaling, and kind of where I went to is again this idea of mastery, like self-mastery. Because I believe that I was speaking to my therapist about this yesterday, and I was talking about like I think it's my job to be the advocate for vocational schooling. And like we're in this weird place, right? Because it's my job to do this. Well, we're kind of having to create the new form of education. This really isn't easy. And so we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you want to pour that for him? So essentially, for lack of other words, people can't get to a form of self-mastery or anything along those lines until they have security taken care of for the most part, right? They're not having to worry about where they're going to eat, where they're going to sleep, basic things like that. And then in addition, it's about getting people to a place where they feel free and they feel safe. And if we can get people from where they are now to that level, which is typically someone earning around $60,000, $75,000, you can then get them to a point where they can start working on building a real career, right? So last night I sent West, you and Connor, a video of this douchebag. His name's Dan Henry.
Douchebag.
Yeah, he was like, man, if you weren't making... Actually, I'm going to play this fucking
I'll
ridiculous
say it one
clip.
more time. Douchebag.
Yeah, man. So number one, he's a bullshit company. The guy's just an asshole. I'm going to play you the clip real fast. God, I dislike this guy so much.
Self-made millionaire, I can tell you, 100 grand is nothing. Listen, I delivered pizza for 7 years, making like 20 grand a year. I am white, I am straight, and I am male. And I still couldn't get ahead. So whatever
doubt one of those
privilege
things.
you think I had, I didn't. And I started to read books written by millionaires. Suddenly, I made more money and was able to invest more money. 100 grand is nothing. I've made that in an hour.
So yeah, this dude's a douche. Number one, he literally has a company where he teaches people how to make money, finding clients and bullshit like that. Like he doesn't do what we do where we actually teach people how to build actual skills. So the thought process is this. If we could help people first get jobs paying around 60, 75, you can then be at a point where you could focus on building a career that can get you to like the 150 mark, 175 over a 5 to 8 year period. It's going to take a long time of really hard work. This is not an easy transition. You've been in the program for how long? Nearly 2 years?
I think I started at like October or November of 22.
Of 22?
21.
21. So,
Yeah, so it's
a year
just-
and a half?
It's coming up to that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had a couple of months to where I wasn't as consistent.
Veered off?
So 3 months on that one freelance project, that was not good. So refocused now. I'm up into the second portion of React.
For sure.
Out of 4 modules. So
So what I want to bring this to is this really interesting quote. So anytime I wake up in the morning and I wanted to think about like, where do I want to take journaling this morning? Ironically, I open up Mastery from Self from Robert Greene, and I look up just like quotes from him realistically. And this is the quote that kind of stuck out to me. You cannot have everything in the present. The road to mastery requires patience. You have to keep your focus on life on 5 to 10 years down the road. When you reap the new rewards down the road. Sorry. This is my dyslexia hitting. When you reap the new rewards of your efforts, the process of getting there, however, is full of challenges and pleasures. So the point getting at is, Tyson, you've obviously almost been in the program for a year and a half now. And you're a perfect example of like, dude, this shit is fucking hard, right?
Sure.
Like handful of freelance projects. You're on freelance project number 4. Mm-hmm. You've dealt with people that were absolute assholes. Ghosted, everything. Assholes. Absolute assholes. And then you've dealt with people. So take that mic, put that baby right in front of your face like this. It's okay to manhandle it some. Perfect. And then you had some people that were great clients, right? So the client you're working with right now is a nonprofit that you're kind of working with. So that's awesome. And what I think this is about is being authentic about what this journey looks like. It's going to naturally do that. It happens to Bruce all the time. It's just going to naturally go up like that. You're not going to be able to fix it.
The mic stands have minds of their own.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, but I tried.
You just broke your nail right there?
Yeah, I put some effort into it.
I would 100% just leave it right there. That hurts a lot. Okay, so.
Yeah, it's good.
So the point being, this is what it's like for the average person. It's going to take a long time. And I think what would be interesting is like hearing a little bit more about your story in that process, right? So you joined a year and a half ago. Obviously, there's been trials and tribulations, right? You've had family things come up. We don't have to go into too much detail.
Absolutely.
But you've had kind of like the normal life of everybody else. Shit happens. This isn't a 4-month program where you get in, get out, no responsibilities. Life is simple.
Yeah, now when I see these things where it's like, you just... I came across one the other day. The girl was saying, "Oh, I decided to become a Google dev. Took 4 months, and then." Oh my God! It's like that's not true. That's not even possible. So, the reality of it being a real language that you have to learn, you have to speak. Right? It's like riding a bike. You don't watch a video, read a book on riding a bike. You have to fall off the fucking thing. So, learning how to do this means putting hours on your keyboard. And it means looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, don't fucking give up.
It seems pushing. Like there's obvious emotion behind that. Like I could see just in your face right here, borderline frustration with excitement, with anxiety. Like everything hits there.
Yeah, I feel like if anyone has been through learning JavaScript in this program, they understand. Like everyone says, you got that spot on your desk that's worn out from your head. Just fucking bang it on the table the whole time. And it's true. You fight a problem and you're fighting it. Sometimes you don't win that day and you have to go to sleep frustrated. But there's something about just thinking about a problem at nighttime. You come to it in the morning and you work on it again. And when you win, you kind of forget about the pain as far as it hurt. And now it's just your trophy. It's like, hell yeah.
But Tyson, this is only supposed to take 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be a 6-figure developer, right?
Well, that's why everyone is a 6-figure developer, I guess.
Yeah. So, help me bridge that gap then, right? So, it's so funny. We have people who are even joining the program who think this is going to be an easy process. I don't know if they watched a handful of YouTube videos and people made it seem like JavaScript is a walk in the park or React. So, quite frankly, HTML and CSS, like on the later stages of it, close to Module 5, is even a pain in the ass for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, can you paint the picture of what this journey is really like? Like, we had Peter on a couple episodes ago, and Peter said, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
There's nothing else to tell you. This is hard.
So even in the modules, you have things that are listed out as we have to learn these things. But there's more than just that. There's other skills that you have to incorporate, like technical hard skills. Some people are coming in and they don't understand like how the files work on their computer yet, and they or it's not that, it's just there's like these technical issues. Like I'm on a Mac and this is acting weird, and another person is saying, yeah, it's acting weird on mine. I'm on a PC, and there's just other IT issues that you have to solve, and that's like the nature of it. People are being sold on 4 months, and that's not realistic. And they don't tell you the scope of the problem or the actual depth of suffering that you're gonna have to go through to reach the end. So,
Did you try any like programs or courses before you joined us?
So before I left NASA, I was doing free
Did
code
you say
camp.
NASA?
Yeah, I was
You work
lucky
at
to-
NASA?
Just
lucky
kinda
enough to
slide that in
have
there.
How the fuck did you
paychecks
work
from
at
those
NASA?
guys. So living in Houston, NASA's a pretty big
Employer.
It's a pretty big employer out there,
Interesting.
and oil and gas obviously too. So I've been lucky to work with Exxon and some other pretty cool places there in Houston. And essentially, what it does is it shows you how to work with a group of people, work with a team, work with people that are not in your team. So you have multiple teams collaborating.
For sure.
And that does seem to be a theme in this space, software development. You're not going to build anything awesome yourself.
So Bruce asked, he was like, what courses did you try before this? And
It was free code camp.
and honestly, Free Code Camp still seems like a pretty awesome resource.
Yeah, you can get into it. It's going to let you get some familiarity with the code.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: they don't send you off and say, "Go do this."
That's fair. It's
Fill
free.
in the blank. It's cool. So that's like riding a bike with your dad on your arm and training wheels, and you got pads.
Good to practice
It's
it.
completely safe, and it's like, okay, but you learn how to ride whenever you get let go, right? So the way these programs are in Devslopes, you get coursework, and then you have a go do, right? Go do something now, and it starts with a blank page. And generally, this is whenever it hits you, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And it's not true. You do know, but there is some fear of taking it on yourself, I suppose.
Mm.
And this is when we get to run and go look at, okay, what did I remember? What do I not know how to remember? Can I ask effective questions? Do I know how to Google? And how long am I going to spend just spinning around in circles without getting a solution and getting working again? So
You know what that makes me think of? Every single jiu-jitsu class we go to, I
Oh,
think Wes
yeah.
is going to be. So every single jiu-jitsu class typically starts off, there's a training period, right? And they're like, hey, today we're going to practice arm triangles. And we're like, cool, let's do this. They do like a quick session of show you what you're doing. Then they're like, all right, go do. And we like, we'll be paired up and we'll sit down and be like, fuck, how do we do that again? I forgot what we're doing. Then we like look around and like, okay, what's everybody else doing? Okay, it's like playing telephone almost, because like, okay, they're doing it over here. Then he goes to each person and checks on how they're doing. Then he comes to us and he's like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Why are you doing it so odd? And he's like, dude, you do it different, like do it this different way or do it that different way. And he's like, this is completely different what I showed you. And it seems like that's like for the difference between being in a controlled versus uncontrolled environment. And then you have the environments like on the medicals, right? With Peter, where it's very brutal in terms of like,
Sure.
you're wrong.
yeah, it's. I was thinking of doing it this way. Why? That's no. And it's cool because if you're wrong, sometimes you know you're a little wrong. He might even engage you in why. But other times it's like, I don't want to spend any more time on this. So wrong. So fucking wrong. Let's just move on now. So yeah, those are great.
He goes, those are great.
Yeah. That's real world stuff, right?
So-
You go to an interview and sit across the table. They're not really trying to hold your hand or anything. They're trying to get you to fail out, right? They're actually trying to say, fail. Like you should fail now.
So he
and
could
prove
leave
me
us
otherwise.
alone and we could prove that we would find the next
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So there's a famous quote with Peter. So the first time he met Ethan, our chief sales officer, it's on a Breckenridge trip that we had with the entire company. And he's sitting there and he looks at Ethan. He's like, oh, he said, where do you live? He says, Dallas. And he looks him dead in the eyes and says, why?
Yeah.
He's like,
Why?
He does that shit on purpose.
he's like, my family lives there. And he's like, why?
Why does your family live there?
And it was so amazing. But it's interesting. What can we learn from that, though, right? So we talked about this in the conversation with Ethan the other day. My communication style is very like on par with kind of Peter in a sense, because like I don't think too much about what we're doing great. I'm thinking nonstop about what do we need to improve, because one of the principles of the entire company is we are going to ruthlessly push for efficiency. That's what we're always going to do. And when you're pushing for efficiency, you're not looking at what you're doing great. You're looking at where do we need to improve.
Sure.
And it's funny, we get this from Peter, right? So it's interesting. Someone who is an extremely good developer, you start noticing that, oh, their entire life is what's wrong. So, for example, yeah, I did it this way. Why? Oh, because of this. Why? Because of this. Why? Yeah, it runs. Great. That's cool. Okay, but why did you do it that way? And then the endless, persistent pushing on, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. But it's like, it feels like one of the neatest things about the program that I've been seeing before my eyes, and it's a hard mentality shift, is a transition of understanding, oh, this is the way of the life. Like, this is going to be the rest of my life. And this is going to be a transition of having to understand how to communicate like that. Like, I can't imagine if every single day I called you, Bruce, and said, Bruce, dads are doing well. Make them better. How? Just make them better. I want a different intro. Why? Like, just consistently pushing on that. But the funny part is, that's Peter said this the other day. That's what makes good developers great. They're constantly pushing to improve new things. And I think that there's something about that that's really awesome. So for yourself, as somebody who's starting to learn about this mentality of why and this pushing ruthlessly for improvements, what is it like? That sounds exhausting.
So I kind of thought everybody was like that. I'm only just now kind of realizing to the full extent that they're not. Like, a lot of people don't want to push themselves or be uncomfortable. So I guess some of the unfortunate things that have happened to me in my life are the fortunate things that have made me able to constantly be in that state of challenge or change. So I like to see people trying hard. I know you mentioned it with jiu-jitsu. You get beat by a guy all the fucking time, and you're working so hard at this thing, and then you get the thing, and it feels great. So I really like driving, racing. When I went to the Philippines, I wasn't allowed to work, so I got really fucking good at Gran Turismo. And that was kind of like my job for a while. And I was almost close to getting into the a space to where that could have been realistically a path, like trying to join a team.
Yep.
Be a driver or do something. But fast forward to where we are back in the States, just working normal jobs. It stops being a challenge. I quit that job generally. I moved to a different one. So I've had a shitload of jobs. And development is something that seems like a continuously growing puzzle.
Never enough.
It's never enough. So it seems like a great fit.
How do you feel about that? Because your job is very similar. Like, you're always going to be making new ads. Your ad will have ad fatigue, and you're going to have to recreate the entire thing.
Ad fatigue.
How does that sit with you? Like, is yours the same way? Like, have you just accepted, like, that's the fun part about the job? Like,
well, I think it's a sort of thing with careers that are fulfilling versus just kind of menial work or stuff you're doing to make ends meet. Those types of things usually don't possess that quality to begin with. Like waiting tables, for example. We're having some technical difficulties here.
I know I see this on the other podcast you're fighting. I think they switched the mics.
Yeah. There's nothing about waiting tables that I think someone goes home after that and like, man, that was so enriching and incredible, and
I really changed their lives
yeah,
tonight.
Yeah, I had a profound experience tonight.
I had a profound experience.
But when you're doing something that is kind of ever changing and you're having to constantly adapt, and I mean, look at the stuff we do now versus the stuff we did even 6 months ago. It's like a complete night and day.
That's interesting. That's one of the reasons why I'm pulling this up. So there's this other quote from Robert Greene that I felt like is just a perfect scenario for this. It's what happens to people when they grow restless, right? Like, whenever we... Give me a second to find this. So here it is. Anything that is alive in a continuous state of change and movement, the moment that you rest thinking that you have attained the level of desire, a part of your mind enters a phase of decay.
Mm.
You lose your hard-earned creativity, and others begin to sense it. Like, it's like, man, it's anytime we become restless, our minds shut off, and we become incredibly passive. That's why I kind of try to push, whether it's advertising and marketing, coding, or sales, there is always something you can do to unlock more. Like, you should never be passive. You should always be working on something. So there is something hilarious that happened in the program. Was it like a month ago whenever everybody logged in and that fucking Jupiter there was an exercise
solar system loops exercise, right?
Tell us about it.
So yeah, a lot of people were kind of pissed off by that. The program generally, there's some lockout. You can't go ahead into the next modules, but there was a way to kind of like bypass that. All you had to do is go do the quizzes for that module, and you can keep skipping ahead.
We're gonna not talk about that right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people have done that. So some people were working on projects at a higher, further away, right?
Yep.
And this particular exercise was put in. It was in the first JavaScript module, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are already
In like
in
React.
React, yeah,
or
in
late
React or in a
JavaScript.
later JavaScript, and they're thinking, well, what the hell is going on here? Some of them are actually crying, it seemed like, and very upset. That's sad to see. But the reality is, like, yeah, you should know this. It's in the early module. This should take you 30 minutes. If it didn't, that's your clue.
That
right?
you
So
maybe jumped ahead too fast.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, it was really good. Some people were able to finish those in the first day. Some people, you can say, oh, it took them 2 days or 3 days, and it's like a wake-up call to some people going, oh yeah, I needed more practice on these things, because it takes the practice. You can't just watch the video and it's not, I know Kung Fu. It's just not that easy.
Well, dude, I feel like the whole practice aspect is what made like you and West so good, right? Like, so when I think about this, Peter really hit it home for me when he was talking about the importance of practice. Because quite frankly, this is the one thing boot camps do really well, right? When you're in person, they're going to force you to do a lot of exercises and practicing that you're traditionally not going to do in online courses, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we're trying to move to this transitional for, like, we are a vocational school. You're going to be forced to exercise, dude. Peter has said things as ruthless as, I'm going to make their lives miserable.
Great.
He's like, I'm going to make them practice so much they will want to quit. And he was like, and in that, they're going to develop the skills to actually have success. And he was like, man, it's my job to produce real software engineers. Mm-hmm. So when I look at this, when I look at Bruce, when I look at West, when I look at Connor, all those guys had tons of practice playing around with videography, photography at the time, like all these things. I gave y'all both a camera, and all of you were like, cool, know how to deal with this. The other day, West, this is so funny. We were trying to get an outro for the vlog. Do you remember this?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, Bruce was like, dude, how the fuck do I turn this thing on? I was like, let me see it. I looked at it for a second, and he's like, why did I hand this to you? Give me that back. He's like, you know nothing about this. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, how pretentious are you? He's like, I actually have experience with these. So he grabbed it and went back to it, and I was like, that's the truest shit I've heard in my life. Like, that's what I'm hiring for. So, like, I hired you because, yeah, you didn't have perfect experience, but guess what? I knew that my marketing knowledge could mentor y'all up so fast, and then y'all would be able to take everything and roll with it quickly because you had practical experience. I knew that if I gave y'all a camera, y'all already had cameras. If I gave you a better one, you're going to produce remarkably. You immediately said, hey, we need different lenses. You and Connor went to bat over which lens to get, right? I loved seeing that. It was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you get comfortable enough with a discipline because you've just done it for so long, Let me ask you something. How long did it take you until you felt like, I finally kind of feel like I know what I'm doing with this, at least to the level where I can like go out there, get freelancing gigs and that sort of thing?
So I know technically we have the skills after the SaaS project to create a landing page. Mm-hmm. It gets interesting in JavaScript. That's where it starts to feel like you're learning something that is valuable.
Yep.
Now it's like, it's just, I don't have to prove it. Once you know this stuff, it just kind of comes with the territory of like, oh yeah, I already assume a certain level of you. So for me, that was a big milestone. But coming towards the actual programming in JavaScript, I would say that took, at least 6 months before, and it took a lot of just practice in the console. There's some students that I try to help out by telling them like, hey, look, take this into your code pen or in your VS Code, whatever you want to use, but write this function from scratch. Don't copy and paste it. Just practice writing it out and then do it again. And just keep writing these things out. It's muscle memory and it sticks. And it takes, in my perspective, it takes that kind of work to just put hours in.
How many hours a day would you say you were working?
A lot.
On code and
a lot. I mean, Nathan, in all fairness, Nathan knows that last year I was not as focused on coding. I was a bit focused on snowboarding.
Oh, no shit,
Loved
bro.
it.
Every fucking call we would take, this man was on the slopes, and I was like, dude, this sort of pissed me off. I was like, every call, like, I think it was like twice a week or something like that.
Twice a week, yeah. Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm like, these are my right days.
These are my right days,
so
man.
I'd pull over in the trees at Breck or Keystone and enjoy the meeting.
It's the whole snowboarding.
But that's kind of,
that
was part of the dream. Like for me, I see the software development aspect giving me, affording the ability to
have that lifestyle.
To have that kind of lifestyle, because I know I can take my laptop, go make some runs, pull over into the thing, and help someone with some code really fast. Shout out to Brittany. Helped her the other day. I was at Copper.
Friedman?
Yeah, Brittany
She's
Friedman.
fantastic.
What's up? So I'm on my phone. I'm looking at code on the chairlift. I'm trying to help. And the cool thing now that we have with these Discords is that you can video call from your phone.
Oh, yeah.
And so I gave them a little tour of the mountain. I was like, you have until I get to the end of this chair. I'll help you.
You have until I get to right there, woman.
And then I'm going to show you over here in this trees and this fun little, spot. So it's cool. It's a cool space to be in. It's not easy, but
it's a nightmare.
It does come with rewards, and it does come with some satisfaction in that sense of knowing you've earned some of this freedom in a sense. But the reality is I wake up, I let my dogs out, I feed them, I drink water, I turn on my computer.
Yeah. And
turning off the computer is the last thing I do, essentially. Like I'm on the computer working on this stuff in some capacity for over 12 hours a day easy. And it's just what I do.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? So I think that, we're really good marketers, right? Like we're really good at trying to tell the stories of everything that's happening. But then on the flip side, I actually love the idea of like these. Do you want to give him some more tea?
Yeah.
Or if you want to grab the cup. One of the reasons I want to have more of these conversations is so that people understand just how hard this is going to be, right? Like this isn't going to be something to where you come in and it's just going to pop immediately, right? Like, you have the people who are able to go get freelance projects quickly. Ironically, this is why we added Sean in the empowerment calls. Mm-hmm. We realized, oh my God, even if some people have the freelance experience, they're ready for it. Like technically, the problem is a lot of people mentally are just not there yet, right? They don't have the confidence in themselves. There's a lot of areas that are just lacking from that standpoint, just from communication, confidence in themselves, the ability to know that they are good enough and they're worthy. That's a really odd aspect, right? Like even right now, I'm going to ask you this, like just point blank. Do you feel like you're worthy of actually getting freelance projects on a consistent basis? Like it seems like that's a real concern for a large portion of people. Like, dude, who am I to be able to go build this project?
Yeah, I'd say now I have gained that confidence now. Now I know what to look for. I know how to ask a person if they're interested in this project. Freelance isn't guaranteed success. So, I do feel confident enough to talk to somebody about a project and determine if this is going to be a good win.
And it's been nearly a year and a half. How long did it take you to kind of find some of that confidence?
You know what? After the SaaS project, you have that confidence, right? And then you get the first job. And for me, it was a wake-up call that confidence might have been a little... it's about to get tested, right? And it's just like when you do these projects and the exercises for the modules, there's a blank slate that you start from. And sometimes that's kind of scary to go, what the hell do we do now? And when you have a contract on a freelance gig, a lot of times it is like that. It's just a blank slate. Mine haven't come with Figma files or design. It's been very much a fully incorporated website design, the whole kit and caboodle. So it's intimidating. It is a lot of work. It's not easy.
And how much were some of these paying? Like 150 is some of them?
Yeah, I said my first gig was 150. It was just to make a simple coming soon page, and it was built in Wix.
A porn
it was
website.
Worth $150.
A porn website for those that are listening.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't ever do it. If you're thinking about Wix, shut up. So my next freelance, my first one, it was done. I'm going to do this for free because I felt like maybe I didn't earn or have that ability to say, you pay me for this.
Yep.
And that's a failure. Don't do that. People value what they pay for. And if you're giving somebody something for free, that makes them question what you're doing, I think, for them.
Yep.
So that one turned out to be not so good, but got a lot of experience from it. And I rolled that into my next freelance encounter and set some higher guidelines, stricter budget, and it was 100% success, and loved that one. And so now the next one is actually for that nonprofit. Yeah, so that's kind of exciting.
That's awesome. I actually want to transition this to Bruce. So I didn't know that you made your own art.
Yeah.
Literally until today. For some reason, I thought that like you were getting art from other individuals and acting as like the salesperson, the distributor. That's where I think this is a really interesting conversation, because that's completely different in my mind. You had to have the confidence, like, I believe in what I'm selling, or I think this is of value. Like I feel like there's almost a delusion to it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to believe in yourself so much. Like, why would someone want to buy a Bruce Michael like image? You know what I mean? Dude, what was that like?
I think in the beginning it was really weird.
What do you mean weird?
Well, you kind of there's a lot of ego in anything creative. You know, the idea that you're capable of building something, you're capable of making something. Why should people watch me? You know, this podcast, all this stuff.
100%.
So when I first started doing that, and then it was like I got one sale that was kind of like, I don't want to say a pity sale, but it was like an old mentor of mine found out I was trying to get this off the ground and decided to buy one. And then when I realized that, you know, it was really funny how it affected the creative process, because I went from doing like very gritty portraits of people to now having to make stuff that was palatable for people's homes. You know, so I always kind of approach from that point on. It completely changed me into, it was like art for profit, essentially. Like, I wanted to make really cool stuff, but I wanted to also make stuff that would sell. And I remember one piece I made in particular. I had this terrible girlfriend at the time, and she told me that you're never gonna sell that thing. It just like
Really?
just straight up told me, you're never gonna sell this. And a lot of people have people say everything in the world to discourage you from trying to pursue something along those lines.
Why do you think she said that to you?
I don't know. I don't know why she did a lot of things.
Status quo?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was a weird. I'm not gonna lie, it was a weird thing, but it was beautiful. And the funniest thing that I had happen is I had all this confidence because I did very well for myself independently. Then when I partnered up with this gallery in Denver, this woman was like completely mismanaging everything, and just like, I don't know, she was kind of stupid, if I'm being honest. So I asked for all my stuff back, and she had my stuff for almost about a year and didn't sell any of the exhibit, and I sold all of it within 2 weeks. So it was kind of like,
What was that like?
Oh man, the biggest fuck you imaginable. But it was also like in a more sincere way. It was like, you know, I had this confidence in myself. All these people had tried to bring it down, and then when I returned it to myself, like everything went well because I knew that I had a way of doing things that worked for me. And I was very good at that point because I'd been doing it for so many years of like tuning out other people. It's like, okay, well, you're going to, for whatever reason, tell me you don't think I'll ever sell this. Well, now I'm even more determined to sell it.
For sure.
You know? So I always kind of used discouragement and like negative reactions from people as a way to like boost my confidence because I understood where it was coming from.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's the hard part, right? Like, even I think it's so different for me because I'm not creative in that sense. Like, I don't have those skills.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagining the idea of thinking, I'm going to sell my own art.
Yeah. It's fucking weird, man. It was weird. The whole thing, I was smoking a lot of weed back then. I was very delusional, had a lot of, you know, but
it worked.
yeah, I mean, but well, all it took was like I put out this one set of stuff and a few people said, you know, you ever thought about selling these? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. I'd hang that up. I'm like, you would? Then another person told me something similar. I'm like, I got 2 people now.
Now this might mean something.
Now this might mean something because I got 2 people telling me, just like, you know, getting several freelance gigs. Mm-hmm. You know, you have 4 people now validating, hey, I trust enough in your skills to pay you for whatever and all this stuff. It's like once you get those little victories, you know, it changes everything.
I actually think that might be the key to all of this, right? So like I've tried thinking to myself so much, like, what was it that allowed me to take such massive risks and have belief in myself? Mm-hmm. And I try to reverse engineer it for you guys, like the actual students. Mm-hmm. How does this get reverse engineered for you guys? So I talk all the time, you've listened to a handful of the episodes, the importance of delusion. You have to have a disproportionate amount of belief in yourself even when others don't. You're breaking status quo and they're saying stop it. I told Kayla this last night. I was like, man, I'm a little torn on the fact that like your friends can come listen to this. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't like the idea of them knowing how much I might make or something like that. It's like, dude, that's a fucking odd feeling. Like,
it made me pay for dinner every fucking time.
Yeah, I already, like, I'm nice about it already, but like it's just like it's like a strange thing, right? Like in all seriousness. Mm-hmm. But then like I sat down and I was thinking about it, and I think that I wrote it down this morning when I was journaling. I had a conviction in my mind that I was going to make it. I was going to make it. What's really interesting is I didn't have anywhere near the, like I had the belief deep down, but I was too scared to admit it or say anything out loud. I was horrified of it because I was going to, you know, I was so conditioned to like, if you said anything positive, like Bruce, so the big deal, a long time ago, it was probably a couple months ago now, I was like, dude, I'm such a fucking idiot, right? Mm-hmm. And when Bruce literally tells me, he still does it to this day. He's like, dude, don't say that about yourself. Like, don't say that about yourself.
Well, to be honest, you actually you mentioned that Peter has to tell you that often too.
Yeah, Peter says that to me too. It's really odd, right? So
it is interesting the things that we play over and over. Other people can see like that's not true or useful.
Yeah, but when Bruce first told me that, I was like in my mind, because like it's about the internal dialogue I had growing up, right? The dialogue that was told to me if I said anything along those lines is, dude, that's so gay, right? Stop being weird, dude, that's so cringy. People would tell me that, right? If I ever tried to, try to do anything motivating or try to do something better or whatever it was, that's how all the dialogue was. And ironically, the past 6 months has been me actually going through the process of breaking that. And this is, this has been a long time. Like, this is after I've had a decent amount of success finally. And so it's funny, I look back at those times and I was so angry. I was so dead set. I'm just going to prove these people wrong. I made it me versus the world. Yep. Like, it's me versus the world. I know they don't think I can do this. I know for a fact I can. I'm going to prove every one of these people wrong. I'm going to do it. Guaranteed. That's how I was thriving. That's what I thought every single moment. And it's interesting seeing that from you. And even for you seeing like, man, this is just going to be painful. These are trials and tribulations. I'm going to go through it. And I think that I talked about this in whether the second episode, whatever it was. imposter syndrome is a feature of greatness.
Sure.
It's a feature. It's not a bug. It's a good thing. Like, you have to feel it because that's the thing that pushes you. And I felt like I did almost what MJ did whenever. Do you remember the story? Whenever he, who did he say? Like, he said somebody slighted him. It was somebody from
Isaiah
Pistons.
Thomas?
But they never said
But it
that.
didn't even have. Well, it's likely Isaiah said something.
It's likely Isaiah was an
Yeah.
asshole. So there's this famous quote. Do you know it really? What do you want to explain it?
I don't know the quote.
So
offhand, no.
there's a famous quote that Michael Jordan was walking off the court and that he had this altercation with this guy named Isaiah Thomas. And he said something along the lines of, "You're never going to be able to catch us," or something like that.
This might have been when the Pistons beat him twice.
Yep,
at
it was when the
finals.
Pistons beat him twice. He's facing all of this pressure and he just can't get over this hump. And so in his mind, he literally, and he admits it, he's like, "Yeah, I told myself that." He's like, "It wasn't true, but I made myself believe it was true." And I was like, "Oh my God, like, this guy's a monster." That's exactly what I did. I made it to where it was me versus the world.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of something really interesting. I remember like getting to a point with photography in New York where getting business was so difficult.
Was there a lot of people trying to do it, right?
That was well. That's the thing is like you. That's the number one thing you're gonna hear is that, and we've talked about this before. People are like, "Oh, everyone's doing that. Why would you do that?" Well, because I'm better than everyone. And that sounds like incredibly egotistical.
I
But
love
if you
it.
don't have that mindset, if you don't think that way,
You're gonna get
like
eaten.
you're gonna yeah exactly. And then when it got to the point where the work actually reached that level, it was like nobody could tell me shit. But I realized that I had to transition into doing video stuff because that's where like there was big money. There's nobody in their right mind is expecting video work for free. There's a lot of
For sure.
with photography. There's a lot of collaboration type stuff, and collaboration is a real nice way of saying I'm not gonna pay you and I'm gonna fucking be an insufferable jackass.
Yep.
But one of the things I first started doing with video was like recreating old scenes from movies and shows. And you ever seen The Wire?
Sounds familiar. Is
I-
it like a cop show or something like that?
Kinda. It's about the drug scene in Baltimore and like gangs and stuff. It's an
Okay.
HBO show. So I did Marlo Stanfield's "My Name Is My Name" speech and like tried to recreate the whole thing like in my bathroom. It was just this ridiculous project that I came up with of like, if I can pull this off, this will be pretty impressive. I remember this one piece of shit commented in the thing. He said, "You must have a lot of time on your hands," with like a bunch of laughing emojis. How you doing now, bro? That's true though. It's like like when you put yourself out there, like and every negative comment, I remember posting some portraits of people that were maybe like a little controversial with the subject matter and everything, and people being like, "Oh, this is disgusting," or "I'm gonna unfollow you." And I'm like, go ahead, I don't give a shit, And you get to a point where you get so used to that negativity that it becomes like it's almost like a firing squad. You could just do you take on this mentality that I am like you said, I'm against all this. And if I don't come at it like Rambo, essentially, like this is never gonna happen. So comment all you want, I got to a certain point where things like that didn't bother me anymore.
I think that's the process, right? So like, especially guys like you, Tyson, that are still at the very beginning of this process. It's intimidating, right? Because you have somebody like Peter who's like an OG, incredibly intelligent, who's been around since kind of the beginning almost, right? And then you're trying to build this confidence, but then you have these interview medicals where you're being absolutely shit on in terms of like, dude, am I just dumb? How am I supposed to make this happen?
Yeah.
And the closest thing I could just relate it to is jiu-jitsu, right? So there's this guy named Rob that I've been training with for a long time. Guys, he has been whooping my ass for so long, well over a year and a half now. It'll be 2 years in about August.
Is this the guy you're saying too is about like 40 pounds lighter than you?
Yeah,
too, right?
bro. I think it's like 60 to 70 pounds lighter. He's $150. I'm 210.5 this morning. Big progress. I'm making progress since I moved off of that ground beef. And so I finally got to the point. For example, he would when he would get on my back, there's something called a body triangle. So essentially, they would triangle their legs around your stomach and try to squeeze you to death, and it's exhausting. So in the past, I would just tap. I'd be like, dude, I quit. Like that's what it was. I quit. That's exactly what it was. And ironically, I think it's been the process of working out and making myself tougher Like I was such a little bitch in the gym for so long. And I noticed this as well with personal trainers, ironically. I looked around at a lot of personal trainers that were out there, and none of them had the bodies of somebody that I would want. And I was like, why? Like a lot of them were really skinny. They didn't have great bodies or anything along those lines. Like, dude, they have all the knowledge of what is happening. Why are they like this? The reality is they didn't want to push themselves. They didn't want to eat the specific way. Like, even now, I was talking with Kayla the other day, and we were both like, man, I can't, like, when I think back about what we were eating, I was eating Gaia Masala 2 times a day. You saw it, bro. I was eating pizza. I was eating all this bullshit. And I was like, dude, I was fucking weak, right? Like, I didn't want to have to eat less, right? I wanted to just be gluttonous and be a child and think that there weren't repercussions. Since I've started fixing that, it's been an absolute fucking game changer. Everything has completely changed. And so when I go to training, the past 2 times we've trained, I've finally, in the past like 8 weeks, have started making forward progress. It took forever. It has taken so long. And the forward progress is, yeah, I do good for maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then it ends up with me on bottom, getting something horrific happening. So the other day, Wes got on footage. In the podcast, if we can, we should be playing this somewhere. He is on my back, just like smothering me like this, double hand smothering me, choking me over my face. And I just made it. I was like, all right, this is inevitable. I'm going to be like this for the rest of the round. And I have 2 options. I tap. I say, fuck it, bro. You win. Let's just reset and we'll start from the beginning. Or I cannot be a little bitch and just suffer through it.
Yep.
Learn
And
from failure.
There's something from that pain to where it's like, no, I don't want to end up in this. And it's interesting. I started getting to the point to where when I'm rolling, I traditionally would have, when I'm fighting with somebody else, I would have the tradition of saying, I could stand up right now and beat them. And like, I could stand up right now and get a better position, but it's a lot of energy. I'm not going to do that. I'll just wait for another opportunity. Right. And it's persistent. Like that mentality, that little click of, I'll wait for the next one. I'll wait for the next one. I'll wait for the next one, ends up punishing you so much. And it's been the biggest learning lesson through having to start dieting down and through learning how to like actually work out and stuff like that. It's made the biggest impact of anything in my life. And I think it's kind of like my personal like next big stage of development. Because it's been so painful, because I have to, like, what I'm trying to do is put myself in situations where I could remember the starting periods. Like, I'm at the starting period. I'm not going to have, like, there's going to be lots of results over the past, like, next 90 days because I'm so underdeveloped. It's like somebody who hasn't learned how to code and they go through 90 days in the program, right? True. They're going to gain a lot of experience, but shit doesn't get real until JavaScript. Yeah. I'm kind of in that phase. And, it's an experience. Like even right now, I look back at the videos. I'm like, dude, you're fat, Nathan. Like I could see the extra rolls. That's so embarrassing. You fat piece of shit. Like that again, that's what's going through my mind. But it's also like at the same time, I'm doing the actions daily. I'm slowly increasing the quality of it, and I can control my attitude, and that's it. Right. So enough about me. What I want to transition to is you're in this process. You're a year and a half in, for the most part, almost a year and a half. What is it like now on a daily basis of like, most people are like, do I just want a job already? Right? It's easy to take your eye off the ball because this happens to a lot of students, and you know what I'm talking about, midway through JavaScript or the end of module 1, and they start applying for jobs. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. Straight up. It's just not going to happen.
I've applied to a lot of jobs. I was like, I'll go ahead and do the thing. Well, because in the program we actually have, there was that exercise like, hey, create your new resume now, and it's from scratch. So like we talked about, I had a NASA job, but none of that gets to go on my resume anymore.
Wes, can you grab that monster in the freezer for me, please?
So yeah,
so the process, like where you are right now. Yeah. So what I see frequently is people get this far and they're so close from being ready, but they start self-sabotaging. I need to start applying for jobs. Like there's somebody in the program not too long ago that this happened to. This person was like, Devslopes isn't the type of education I need. I need something with a different learning style, but I love the community here. And ironically, I tried speaking with that individual like, this is not true. What you need more than anything else is to commit. You're not committing. This idea that you're not getting the right learning style is absolute nonsense. The truth of the reality is, just like what Peter said the other day, your job as a developer is to not watch videos all day, but read documentation, practice documentation, and exercise. That's it. Like that's realistically it.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. Right now, to be fair, you might find other YouTube videos that can break down a context. Actually, I've seen it all the time. Like having something explained in a different way is wildly valuable.
Sure.
But people will get so close to getting to the points of finally making real progress, hence being in React. Like you're finally developing employable skills, but you're still not good at them or not close to. And that's when people are like, enough, I'm going to stop spending time trying to forward progress and start working on activities that are going to make me go nowhere. And then I feel like that's the slippery slope where most people start really, it goes downhill. Like their life really starts to struggle. Thank you so much. What do you think about that? Because like obviously you fell into that for a bit.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, okay, cool. We got past this one point, successful freelance gig, tune up the resume, pump them out. And from my own experience of having been in so many jobs and understanding, I know I generally get hired at a place and I'm more valuable than they thought I would be. It just ends up that way. So I feel like, okay, all I got to do is flood these. It's a numbers game. Takes one yes, and I'll be successful in this role. And there is a lot of truth to the effects of thinking you're ready, sending out all these resumes. And I never got responses for so long. And then I finally started getting responses, and it was unfortunately no. But it was different.
You got a
It's
response,
kind of like
though.
when you're coding and you're like, fuck yeah, I got a new error. Come over. I want to show you my new error I just got. We're making gains today because it's not the same error that it is over and over. And so start getting these things where it says, unfortunately, but I'm getting dinged back so often. So I'm thinking, well, that's a clue. Like, don't stop improving the resume with actual skills, right? Get another freelance contract, work through React, keep going. But yeah, it can be a bit of a cold shower. It's a reality that it isn't easy. It's not going to be super fast. And I don't know. All it takes is one, though, right?
Yeah. Well, isn't that
I mean,
what
you just
Ethan
work
said?
until you get it.
Isn't that what Ethan said yesterday about like the no's? Once you start getting
it's different kinds of no's.
It's different kinds of no's. Yeah, I've gotten the other no's. And like people say, hey, you know what? Close, but I can't hire you. But I just wanted you to know you were close. That sometimes is a boost, right? So, I don't know what you touched on before about just giving up. Like, don't do it. You have to just tell yourself, it's me against the world, or it doesn't matter what happens, not stopping. Like, I'll go to bed sad today if I have to. And then tomorrow is different. Work the problem,
Because people who commit to something for years at a time and never stop, and we mean truly commit, more often than not get to where they want to be. It's when you kind of deviate, or you're in a situation where, like, and we talked about this in one of the early episodes, there's a lot of people that say, I've been coding for 6 years.
I heard that, yeah.
But I can't get a job, and it's like, well, that's because you haven't been coding.
Because you
6
haven't
years.
been coding. Yeah, if you're putting in actual effort for 6 years,
dude,
you're going to be a
mid-level
senior
developer.
dev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By then you'll have the experience. You would have put in 2 years max to have gotten your skills. You're hired. Now you're working in a junior role, and now you're at a position to where you have experience like 6 years later. So, and those salaries do look nice, sir.
Typically around 120, 175
Yeah.
like, and that's
It's. I know we've you guys have mentioned this before. It's you can't just want to come into this industry because you want sleep pods at your fucking job.
yeah. Well,
That's
you. I think. What was it? That was another quote that was kind of in there. That he had something where he said you have to be almost religious
yeah.
in what your belief is.
When I knew that I was probably stumbling back into the right path, because I used to like doing code when I was in high school, like making a website, and I used to still like going to websites and looking at the code, being like, yeah, it's still cool to see. But when I finally made the decision, like, oh yeah, I liked doing this, and it's actually a job. You can make this your job too. It was exciting to know that it was not just a hobby.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
And I put so much time into doing it in my off time. It just makes sense, you know.
when I look at the hires for almost everybody, like whenever that day I spent with Connor thinking about, man, what is the story of Devslopes? Like, how did I build this? What is the culture? What behaviors do I love? What behaviors do I hate? I think this quote kind of hits it perfectly. When I look at you guys, when I look at you and West, when I look at Connor, when I look at Ethan, when I look at Peter, John Hager, right? All these guys. This quote is so perfect. In order to master a field, you must love the subject and feel a profound connection to it. Your interest must transcend the field itself and border on the religious.
Yeah.
Like, that's when someone has that, you're set. And then he has this last quote that goes with it. And I'm telling you guys, this book is just so remarkable. No good can ever come from deviating from the path that you are destined to follow. You will be assailed by varieties of hidden pain. Most often you deviate because of the lure of money or more immediate prospects of prosperity, because this does not comply with something deep within you. Your interest will lag, and eventually the money will not come so easily. Think about applying for jobs when you're clearly not ready.
Sure.
Right? But success does leave some clues. Your no's have been growing, right?
Yeah.
Freelance work is coming, but your no's are getting slightly better. Okay. We're getting somewhere now.
Yeah.
And so this is the beautiful part of, becoming obsessed with the journey, becoming obsessed with the ability to create great software, and understanding I get the ability to impact millions of people. Every time I see your new ads that come out, Bruce, like when I watched one today, it's like every single time they're so much better, time and time and time after time. Like it's unbelievable. Like, I am so confident now when I talk to John, I'm like, yeah, he's going to put out fire, bro. Like he's going to produce 4 ads for you. At least 2 are going to hit. Almost guaranteed, right? Like it's going to happen. And it's funny. It's just, I know for a fact, like Bruce will come to me, Tyson, just to give you a context. He's like, Nathan, I got an idea. I got an idea. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, what's this? He's like, okay, picture this. You got an elephant. And I'm like, sold. You win. Whatever you want. Here's my Visa card. Go get the elephant. You don't even need to say the rest. And again, ironically, what it comes from is the creativity aspect, right? Like, I think it's like that delusion that led to confidence. That's where creativity comes from, right? Same thing for you guys. Like, that practice plus experience, which leads to creativity over time. When I hear Peter walk through different software ideas, it's like, okay, the only way you have this type of creativity is through sheer problem solving over and over and over and over again. Right. That ruthless drive for efficiency is what creates unimaginable creativity. Yeah, I think people oversee this just too much. It's painful. You don't get to think like that. Unless you've gone through extreme pain, unless you have been the starving artist, you do not get to thrive. And at this point, for example, the way Peter treats it, I'll give you a fun fact. Call Peter a coder next time you see him.
Oh yeah, no, I already. I mean, I feel the same way too, because it just doesn't make sense. And if you're aspiring to be a coder, it seems like what was that movie Blow? George, you had the wrong dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Peter is awesome for that really like direct feedback, and like you don't have to question it either. It's not like, I don't know, maybe he didn't understand. It's proven. It's coming from a guy who you can take his advice and run with it. And usually he will give us quite a lot to chew on. And
I think that's kind of just the entire theme of this episode, though, right? The art of self-mastery and craftsmanship, right? Finding something that you could treat as your craft and you taking complete ownership of it. So the other day I talked to West about music videos, ironically, in terms of trying to get a new vibe for the daily vlog, right? This man watched the same music video. How many times at that coffee shop? Dude, a lot. And I was like, people probably think you're a freak right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the exact same one over and over and over and over. But like that's what obsession looks like. Obsession over the craft.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this entire process is. And I think that if we can get that message out a little bit more, understanding that this is a painful process, they're going to be stepping on Legos the entire time.
Yeah.
And every now and then, there might actually be a pin sticking up, not a Lego, that's going to be abnormally painful and will hurt you.
That's actually, you should say that.
Yeah.
You should say, hey, it's going to be really hard. And when you think it's really hard, it's going to get fucking worse.
And it's going to be inevitable.
Yeah, and it's going to happen to you.
I think that's a wrap for today. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Good, man.
Just looking beautiful.
Feeling it.
You're feeling it.
Yeah. Said a lot today.
Do you have any final thoughts, Tyson, for those out there who are kind of considering coding or maybe they're on the journey?
If you're on the journey, you obviously made the choice for a reason. Don't forget your why. I talk to Josh about this sometimes. You have a goal for yourself. And if it's, I think you had said something too, don't deviate from your path. All the other shit is distractions. So see it through. Aim high.
Man, well, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow on whatever we're going to chat about tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll chat with you guys later. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Good shit, Tyson. Cool.
Beautiful.
How's your thumb feel right now? Because that looks fucking painful. I saw him shaking for a bit.
I was like, God damn.
Let's
Maybe try to loosen it and then